Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yasodhanandana Vrajadana Ranjana. Yasodhanandana Vrajadana Ranjana. Yamuna Vanathari. Yamuna Vanathari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayam Vishnu Pad Paramangsa Parivatakachaya Stotarashata Shri Srimad-Bhagavatam Ravina Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrunda Ki Jai Prem Seko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Srimad-Bhagavad-gītā Ki Jai Samavita Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord, known as Vasudeva. So today we're reading, I'll speak in English, no? Is that suitable for all? Yes, yes, yes? Okay. Yes, we are reciting and discussing today from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, translated and explained by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Today we're reading from chapter 7 called Knowledge of the Absolute, text 19. Bahunang janmanam ante Bahunang janmanam ante Gyanavan mang prapadyate Gyanavan mang prapadyate Vasudeva sarvam iti Vasudeva sarvam iti Samahatma sudurlabaha Samahatma sudurlabaha Bahunang janmanam ante Gyanavan mang prapadyate Vasudeva sarvam iti Samahatma sudurlabaha. Devotees? Someone else? That was courageous. Yes? Magst du auch rezitieren, Mataji? Okay. Bahunam, many. Janmanam, births. Ante, after. Gyanavan, he possessing knowledge. Mam, unto me. Prapadyate, surrenders. Vasudevaha, cause of all causes. Sarvam, all. Iti, thus. Saha, such. Mahatma, great soul. Sudurlabaha, very rare. Translation. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge, so Krishna is speaking, after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Yes, repeat. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Purport. The living entity, while executing devotional service or transcendental rituals after many, many births, may actually become situated in transcendental pure knowledge that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. In the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism. But when one is further advanced, he can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life, and that these activities constitute devotional service. Realizing this, he becomes attached to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and surrenders to him. At such a time, one can understand. This means here, at such a time, meaning one has... I prepared the purport in this statement. It can be a little confusing. As far as I understand it, it means at such a time one can understand, meaning one has understood. It's not that one learns now, but one has learned already. One can understand that Lord Sri Krishna's mercy is everything, that he is the cause of all causes, and that this material manifestation is not independent from him. He realizes the material world to be a perverted reflection of spiritual variegatedness, and realizes that in everything there is a relationship with the Supreme Lord Krishna. Thus, he thinks of everything in relation to Vasudeva, or Sri Krishna. Such a universal vision of Vasudeva precipitates one's full surrender to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna as the highest goal. Such surrendered great souls are very rare. This verse is very nicely explained in the 3rd chapter of Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Yes, this is a quotation. In this body there are powers of speaking, of seeing, of hearing, of mental activities, etc. But these are not important if not related to the Supreme Lord. This is confusing to me because... Oh, okay. These are not important if not related to the Supreme Lord. And because Vasudeva is all-pervading and everything is Vasudeva, the devotee surrenders in full knowledge. There's one strange thing about this purport, because I read the same purport on the phone, and on the phone the purport is longer. It's quite a bit longer.
Which Bhagavad-gītā version is this?
Which one? This?
Yes. The first one.
It's abridged?
I think it's the first one.
It's cut, no? I remember this Prabhupada in one preface of one edition he's writing that now we have the full one with all the purports complete. So we can... Yeah, I mean, that is different in many editions, but I'm shocked. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see, maybe we add the other one or maybe we just leave it, because then also we have more time to discuss that which is there. We don't have to discuss that which is not there. So, yes, let's leave it like this for now. Maybe we add the rest, maybe not. Om Agyana Timirandasya Ganandana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militangena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namini Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarini Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Shri Nrsinga Jaya Nrsinga Jaya Jaya Nrsinga Praladesha Jaya Padma Mukha Padma Bringa Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bahunang Janmanam Ante Gyanavan Prapadyate Vasudeva Savam Iti Samahatma Sudulabaha. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Yes. I would like to suggest that we find out the other English Bhagavad Gita again, if it is completer. I didn't see it here. Did Rajat take it? No. Oh, okay. But previously we had this, I remember. It looked just like the German one, and it was in plastic and wrapped nicely. Anyway. Okay. So, for today, this is our reading. And I beg your blessings. Later on, Krishna will say that I will explain to you something most confidential. And then Srila Prabhupada explains that everything until then was also confidential. So the Bhagavad Gita actually contains very confidential topics, and thus we always have to approach with caution. We cannot rush through topics, trying to suit our own understanding, but we always have to deeply try to understand things. And in a complete, in a big picture, in a complete picture, not holistic. Yes, thank you. Yes, that is a good word. So there always has to be a holistic context to whatever we discuss in spiritual knowledge. And I'm begging your blessings for this, that there will be something inspiring, something uplifting, something enlightening, something that is satisfying to the heart. So, here we are in this chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute, and I would like to give a short context for this verse from previous verses. In the beginning of the chapter, Krishna is first explaining that actually it starts with the last verse of the previous chapter. Krishna explains Ashtanga Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and concludes that the person who is fully absorbed in thinking of Krishna with great faith is the supreme yogi. Yoginam api sarvesham, of all yogis, Madgatinantara Atmana, who is always thinking of me within himself, Shradhavan Bhatate Yomang, and who worships me with faith. Sameyukta Tamo Mataha. I consider that kind of yogi the best yogi. Krishna is saying that. So then the natural question would be, how to do it? If one can follow that statement and accept it, then the next question is, but then how to practice this kind of yoga? And then Krishna opens this, in this chapter 7, the first verse is, Krishna is basically saying, now I will tell you how you can really understand me, beyond doubt. If we have doubt, then we are lacking in faith. So if we have full faith, then doubts will vanish, or doubts will be far away. So Krishna is then opening like this. And he will say that if you understand this, there is nothing to know beyond this. So that's a very bold statement. But here, yes, it's knowledge of the Absolute. That is how the chapter is called. So we're looking at this topic. So it's very bold, it's very far out actually. So Krishna is telling, if you understand these things, there is nothing else to know. And if time allows, then we will be able to discuss a little bit of this also. So, and then Krishna will say, but such a person is very rare. Most people don't understand this. He says, out of thousands among general people, there's one person who is actually looking for the truth. And out of those who are looking for the truth, hardly one knows. Krishna says, again, it's kind of bold if you don't, if you're not familiar, or if you have not that kind of realization. But Krishna is saying, out of those who are looking, are on the path of perfection, or who are already perfect to some extent, hardly one knows me. So Krishna is a very mysterious person. And then Krishna is explaining his extraordinary features. Krishna is telling that there are 8 material elements. There are 8 kinds of how you call this in English, blocks or Lego. You know Lego? There are 8 shapes or 8 kind of particles, and the whole material manifestation is made of this. And Krishna is telling, it is earth, it is water, it is fire, there is air, there is space, ether, you could say. Those are 5, we say, gross elements. And then there are 3 subtle elements containing mind, or thinking power, and feeling and willing power, or emotional power. Then intelligence, intellect, our ability to discriminate and to apply logic. And false ego. False ego is also the most subtle material element, and a person in contact with this element considers that I am matter. So Krishna is presenting, these are 8 elements, and then he's saying, this is my material energy. So he's saying, all of this is my, one could also say, property. It all belongs to me. Krishna is saying, it's all mine. I'm the possessor of everything. But then you could say that, wait a minute, I'm also there. Okay, we're not the body, we're the person in the body. Okay, then even the body belongs to you. But I am I. But then next verse, Krishna will say that, and then I have another energy, and that is the living beings. So the spiritual particles that is a living being. That is us. That is the person in the body, the conscious, the chitkana, the conscious being. That is a spiritual spark. And Krishna is saying that all spiritual sparks, they also are my energy. They also belong to me. And Krishna is saying that in this world you will find nothing except this. You will find only the material energy and the spiritual energy. Everything that exists, it can be categorized into those 2. So, and then Krishna will say that, so I'm the invisible element behind everything, within everything. There's nothing beyond me. Krishna is telling like that, and then he's giving a practical, how to say? He's explaining how to practice this understanding, and he's giving different examples. Like Krishna is telling, I am the taste in water. If you want to experience me, taste consciously and understand I am that taste. Or I am the light of the sun, I am the light of the moon. When the sun shines, we can be grateful to Krishna that yes, your light is there. I am the sound in ether. I like this one because sometimes so many people are there and someone drops a plate or something and it's like the mind goes lit like ah! And then you can remember that Krishna is that sound. So there's a transcendental dimension, and that helps us to be peaceful. So Krishna explains in different ways like that. And then he's basically saying that the whole all living beings, they are bewildered by this material energy in 3 modes, in sattva, rajas, tamas. That is a very complete topic in itself also, but basically all living beings, they're enamored by this material energy. They don't see me, who is beyond. And they are confused about what is real. And they're caught by this material energy. They're narrowed down. They're stuck in a low consciousness and in a low state of existence. And then Krishna tells, but a person who surrenders to me, he will go beyond this material energy. He will go beyond. He will be released from the entanglement of the consciousness, from the narrowing, from the degradation of the consciousness. And then Krishna will tell that some people who are qualified to worship him and to connect with him in a relationship, and some people who are not qualified, according to their, let's say, character and mindset. And then Krishna will glorify one kind of person who is qualified to worship him, and he calls him the Jnani, the person who has knowledge. And then the other three, they want something from God. One is in distress, so he will pray to God, please take away the suffering of mine. People pray like this. People turn to God sometimes when they are in distress. This English saying is there, how does it go? There is no atheists in the trenches. If there's war and death is very, how to say, close, yeah, you could say, then one may be very inclined to pray. So then one person, he wants something from God. He feels like, I need some money, I need some facilities, I want this Mercedes-Benz or something. And he goes to God and he prays. And the third kind of person, he's inquisitive. He's simply wondering, is God there? Is he not there? Some people say he's there, some people not. And some people say he's like this, some people say he's like that. So I would like to find something out about God. Once I met a person, he made an experiment. He prayed to God, if you are there, then fulfill this and this and this desire of mine. And he was not like attached, he was just like, yeah, maybe he's there, maybe he's hearing me, let's see. I pray to him. And then he forgot about it, and then that desire actually came true. It was something really awkward. And then he told me, since then he's a little scared, because he noted that someone is there. He didn't want to have a book, because he felt like, then I know too much. That was very interesting, strong personality. Yes, so then Krishna is explaining that people worship him for those purposes, but if they worship him for those purposes, they don't really understand who Krishna is and what God is by nature, and what is so, because anyway. So Krishna is in this verse, not according to Srila Prabhupada, but according to Srila Baladev Vidyabhushana, Krishna is telling that those persons, the person who feels distressed and turns to God to diminish his distress, the person who turns to God because he needs or he wants something, the person who turns to God simply because he's curious, if those persons, if their knowledge becomes full, if they become jnanavan, full of knowledge, then they become just like the jnani, the person who worships God in knowledge, or in a sincere pursuit for knowledge about God. And Krishna is telling about the jnani, maybe we'll find it here. Also, Priyo hi jnanino tyartam ahangsa cha mama priyaha. This means that the person who is actually knowledge, he's very dear to me, and I'm also very dear to him. So, because he understands me, the person who understands you, you have a good relationship. No? So, if those other people who approach God, if they also become jnana-van, if they become full of knowledge, then they will also surrender, prapadyate, and they will achieve the ultimate, how to say? Yeah, anyway, but they will also surrender, just like the jnani. Understanding Vasudeva, everything is God in one sense. There's nothing beyond him. There's nothing beyond his existence. Like this. So, this is our verse. Our verse is speaking that the person, somehow or other, the person who somehow or other understands who is Krishna, who is that mysterious person, who really understands, that person sees him everywhere. He is the all-pervading Supreme Personality. The all-pervading Supreme Truth is a person. This is a great secret. This is we said this is very, very confidential. It is not something to be cheaply accepted or rejected. And therefore, it is not so, therefore we don't have every day 200 people sitting here, all the neighbors, they come and listen. No, because they don't understand this. They will say, some Christian people, they accuse us of idol worship. They say that you are worshipping some statue, because they cannot grasp this. There is a person with a form, and it has nothing to do with the material energy. This is impersonalism. Srila Prabhupada says, in the beginning of spiritual realization, while one is trying to give up one's attachment to materialism, there is some leaning towards impersonalism. Because the material things, they have form. So I reject the form. I reject the concept that there are forms. I want something different from matter. So I try to disassociate myself. And then you hear that God also has 2 arms and 2 legs, and he likes to herd cows. He likes to play the flute. So you automatically think of the material flute and the material hands and legs and cows, and then you don't get the point. Who is Krishna? And also it was explained about Krishna that, or about those people who become jnanavan, who come to real understanding, that the point is that it's explained, they come into the association of devotees and they understand Krishna's svarupa. They understand the nature of his personality. And in that most essential book in our tradition, the Brahma Samhita, Krishna is telling Ishvara Parama Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God it is, Krishna, and who is he? What is he? Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. He is the complete form of eternal existence and knowledge or consciousness and blissfulness. Ananda, full happiness, full joyfulness. So Krishna is the personification of these things. In the material world you find nothing which is the personification of those things. You will find nothing like that. Our bodies are temporary, and as we get older, the suffering increases, and by nature we are not, the intellect doesn't reach so far, and the consciousness doesn't go so deep oftentimes. The knowledge is not so complete. Many times people in the world are very confused. So this should be understood about the personality of Godhead. Yes. So Srila Prabhupada, in the end of this purport, he is quoting a verse, and it's explained that in the body there are powers of speaking, of seeing, of hearing, of mental activities, etc. but these are not important if not related to the Supreme Lord. That is a very strong statement also, no? If you don't speak about God, it's not important. If you don't engage your work in relation to God, it is not important. That's very heavy, no? Like that's kind of, no? Did you ever speak something not about God? Then it was not important. My God. So, how do we understand this? So, Srila Prabhupada earlier in the same purport also, he's explaining that in the beginning one tends towards impersonalism. One is satisfied to sit in some cave and meditate and nobody comes and you're just peaceful and you get rid of your contact with the distractive elements of the external world. But Srila Prabhupada is writing, when one is further advanced, he can understand that there are activities in the spiritual life and that these activities constitute devotional service. So if we don't connect our activities with Krishna, then with the personality of Godhead, then those activities are called material. And whatever activities are performed, the result is temporary. If I have a big plan to build a skyscraper, then I have to think about it, I have to organize it, I have to get the material, I have to pay the people, and so many resources, so much energy, so many different things have to go into that project until the thing stands. But then one day it will crumble again. And on that day, what was the use of it? At that point, what was the use of it? But any activity performed in relationship with God makes us conscious of our relationship with God, which is eternal. It is eternal. It never stops for eternity, which means that this relationship exists eternally. Whatever I contribute in that relationship, it makes a, how to say? It eternally adds to the richness of that relationship. When people live together for a long time, their relationships become deeper and deeper and deeper and more pleasing and fulfilling to the heart. So that relationship with God is like this eternally. So whatever we contribute in that relationship will be fully satisfying to us, fully enlivening also. You can brush the teeth with great happiness. If you think that I'm brushing the teeth for Lord Nrsingadev, and then I have clean teeth, and then I come here and I'm fresh and ready to be seen by the Lord himself. So whatever we do in relationship with the Lord, it becomes very pleasing and very meaningful right now, not later. The skyscraper also, you have to wait so long until you get the result, if you get any, if you ever finish. And there's so much labor in between, and there's no value in it. But as much as you connect your activities to God, then it is glorious. You can build the same building as a temple, and that is different. Why? Because, first of all, while you are constructing the temple, you are remembering the purpose. Whenever you think that, my God, this is difficult, this is too much. Whenever you think like this, then you remember your purpose. You remember, no, I want to do this so that people can worship God, so that people can have a spiritual experience. I want to facilitate this. If you have this vision, then even while doing, you have your meditation. You're doing an offering. There's a sacred motive and a sacred ambition, and that surcharges your action with good consciousness. It inspires, it enhances your God consciousness. And therefore, even if you never finish building the temple, still it is glorious. What to speak of if you can finish the building, and then so many people will go there, and so many people, let's say it's a Hare Krishna temple, Hare Krishna skyscraper, so many people will chant Hare Krishna and feel pleasure in the heart. So many people will take sanctified food, which I heard once one senior devotee explain from great realization, that if you eat this sanctified food, prasadam, Krishna prasadam, what will happen? It will induce any human being to start asking the questions of life. Any person who ever eats Krishna Prasadam, what to speak of a lot of Krishna Prasadam, the minimum effect it will have, he will ask the questions of life. In other words, he will begin his journey where at the end he will come to Krishna or God. So, if you can complete the building and all such activities take place, if people can sit down there and discuss Bhagavad Gita, then it is so glorious, and you will get the credit. If you were involved in building that place, you get so much credit. God knows who put those stones. God knows who put those electrical wires. God knows who designed the temple room. God knows who installed the kitchen, and so on and so on. God knows who gave money for the construction. God knows. So all along there is so much benefit in that. So it is meaningful. Devotional service, activities related to God are always meaningful. They are full of purpose. They are full of meaning. And ultimately, any sane person hankers for this. We hanker for meaning. We hanker for purpose in life. Why so many materially successful people kill themselves? Because they feel that I have everything that I want, I have everything that I need, I have everything I could ever dream of. And then still I'm not satisfied. And then they just give up. This life is meaningless. And they become so desperate sometimes. Something may happen. They will lose some money, they will lose some dear relative. In course of time, they will become sick or something. They will suffer a little bit, and then immediately they think this life is useless. So, yes, why? Because they cannot dream of anything bigger. They cannot think of anything bigger. Therefore, they need spiritual knowledge. Everyone needs spiritual knowledge to be fulfilled. Like this. So, therefore, devotional service is important, and if we don't engage in devotional service, it is not important. And our daily activities, as consciously as possible, should be dedicated to that. We should eat to have energy to do something nice in the daytime, washing pots. We should also eat so that we can meditate nicely in the morning. Yes, I'm very unrealized and not very qualified in all these things, but we're reminding ourselves, isn't it? So we're trying to lead good relationships in devotional service. So everything that we do all the things that other people also do. We are not inactive, but we are active with purpose. We are active with that purpose of experiencing God's presence, realizing God's presence. And ultimately, in one sense, it is very simple. It is very simple. But for me, it's not very difficult. We have 10 minutes until the curtain opens, and my God, I wanted to speak about so many things. But it's not possible, I guess. Yeah, we'll have to somehow conclude. Yes. In this verse, we are looking at that realization also. Vasudeva Savamiti. Everything is God. Everything is Krishna. So, we may have faith in this process, or we may have faith in a general sense in spiritual life. But then, how do we come to that level of full consciousness? How do we come to that practical perception? Vasudeva Savamiti. There's so much. There's many things. Yes. Krishna, in this 7th chapter, he has explained how everything is its energy. He has not explained how he is situated within that also, but he is. And that is explained in different ways, in different places. So there's another verse in the Brahma Samhita, which is, I can read it for you. Yes. Eko pyasaura chaitung jagadanda kuting yat chaktir asti jagadanda chaya yadantaha andantaras ta paramanu chayantarastam govindam adi purushang tamahang bhajami. In short, this verse means that there is one Krishna, there is one God. He is just himself. But what he does, it says that to create, he has the power to create, he has the energy to create, no? Like this earth, water, fire, air, and so on, to create unlimited universes. No? We are followers of the multiverse understanding of reality. There's not only one universe, there are many. Because God is unlimited, so his creation also is unlimited. So he has that energy to create unlimited universes, and all those universes are within him. They are within him. They're within him. Sometimes it is said that the whole creation is situated in the stomach of Krishna. It's all in his belly. Sometimes they say like this. So then, and at the same time, so everything is within him. Then you may say, then that's clear. Okay, I accept. I don't understand, but maybe I accept. Everything is within God. And there, so like that. But then he's continuing to say, Andantarasta paramanu chayantarastam. But at the same time, there is in the universe we speak of atoms. Atoms in Sanskrit they call it paramanu, the supreme small particle. So within that, God is also there. He's within every atom. He's bigger than the biggest, and he's smaller than the smallest. And at the same time. So this is God. This is Krishna. So he's situated in every atom. He's conscious of everything. Krishna is fully cognizant of his entire existence. This is God. And so it means that everything is in relation with him, and therefore nothing is separate from him. That is what it means. So everything is Vasudeva, everything is Krishna. In the sense, it all depends on him. It is all related to him. There is nothing beyond him, not an atom beyond him, because he's inside, and it's also inside of him. So how can you have more close bonding with anything? So this is Krishna. So everything is with him, and he's with everything. And that is what it means, Vasudeva Savamiti. And then this is, I guess this is the last thing I will read, and then we may conclude like that. This is from, it's called Krishna Book. It's a presentation of Krishna's personality by Srila Prabhupada in prose. It's taken from our scriptures, but it's presented like that. And in one place, Srila Prabhupada is explaining how to approach that kind of perception, how to grow towards that. There's much more. I wanted to say so many practical things also, but I guess this is very essential and maybe also practical. So Srila Prabhupada is writing, one's mind can be pacified only when he simply thinks of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Now, this does not mean that one has to be very thoughtful. So you don't have to be always, you don't have to think so much. But what do you have to think? But one simply has to understand that Krishna, the absolute truth, is all-pervasive by his localized aspect as Paramatma. Paramatma means that feature of the Lord, he is situated in every atom. That is Paramatma. If only one can think that Krishna as Paramatma is everywhere, even within the atom, then one can perfect the thinking, feeling and willing function of his mind. The perfect devotee does not see the material world as it appears to material eyes, but he sees everywhere the presence of his worshipable Lord in his Paramatma feature. So all the things we do also, we use our hands to clean the temple floor, we use our whole body to offer respects, we use our speech to speak and to pronounce the Hare Krishna mantra, we use our tongue to taste prasad, we do many things with our physical body, but the most essential thing is the mind, that internal sense, that thinking power, that feeling power, that willing power. Everything is driven by that ultimately. Whatever we think can manifest very easily outside also. If we think something that we don't want to do ultimately, then maybe we have to restrain ourselves very strongly to not engage like that. And if I want an ice cream, then what is the harm? I buy for €2 and I eat happily. Even here, it's prasadam. So the thinking of Krishna is very simple in a way, but it's very perfect. But it's not. But it has to be practiced ultimately. It's a practice, and practice makes perfect. So we could say this is what we do here, and that will lift us. That is the wonderful thing, and the mystical thing also, that this simple engagement in God's service, it just lifts us above the material energy, just like that. We will not even notice. We will not feel it. We may not even notice. It will just happen like that. Yes. And then we will experience more and more deeply this these qualities of Krishna, because they are also our own qualities, because we are his, one could say, children, we could say his parts. We belong to him, we are of the same nature, eternal, full of knowledge and full of bliss. And this will give the full satisfaction to the spirit soul, because that is these are his natural elements. Like nobody wants to die, nobody wants to be foolish. We want to be happy, we want to live forever. So why do we want this? Because we are like that. Only we have to understand we're not the body, we have a spirit soul, we belong to God. That's all. So if we envision God always, if we think of him always, if we do for him always, and if we develop a positive relationship, a loving relationship with God, then that spiritual nature will become revealed to us. And that is, then the fish is in the water. Then the fish can be happy. Okay, I will stop here. And this one is going 2 minutes ahead, so maybe if someone likes to ask or comment one thing, I guess that is all right. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you for the class. You were mentioning before how the problem starts when we don't really see what we're doing. Things we act in the world without really considering Krishna. But still, I hear, for example, in this verse, and you spoke also much that Vasudeva Sarvam Iti.
Yes.
So everything is Krishna. So actually, we cannot really be disconnected from Krishna. So maybe you can speak, if you would like to speak a little bit on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can give you something very real, which I experienced yesterday. That was very funny, actually, in retrospect. Not only funny, but actually very humorous in a way. Which is that yesterday I was evening priest, so I had to finish the service, and then I had to chant a few more rounds. So it was quite late, and it was approaching 11 o'clock, and then I thought, okay, now I go to bed. And then I came through the corridor, and here was the temple room, and I looked in, and there was a plate with some pieces of pizza, there were some olives on the floor, and a part of me was like, how can how can nobody feel responsible for it? Maybe someone who organized that feast or someone who partook, why could they not clean afterwards? And then I felt like, but if I'm not, if I'm not sincere, then I will just go and leave it. But if I'm sincere, I see it, somehow I have to do it. So in my state of ignorance, I was feeling like this. And then I just did it as quickly as possible. And then I wanted to go to bed, but I was still thinking, I'm angry, I'm frustrated a little bit, I'm annoyed, and I should not be, because I know some philosophy, and it's like knocking on my conscience, all the things I read and heard, and then I came to that conclusion that Krishna has put it there for me. Don't blame anyone. Krishna has put it for me. And I was thinking that I was allowed to clean the temple room for all the devotees who come tomorrow for Mangalarti, for chanting japa. So it's very good. So this remembrance of God, it saves us like anything. It saves us like anything. Yes. Okay. We end here. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai.